What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex podcast from the Action Network and Fantasy Labs. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. It's NFL Week 15, opening week of the playoffs for some. We're going to go over our player projections. As always, I'll be joined by one of the most accurate fantasy football rankers in the game, the odds maker, Sean Koerner. Quick reminder, all of our fantasy content is available right now over at fantasylabs.com. Fantasy Labs NFL includes in-season rankings, waiver wire DFS tips, and much more. Be sure to use code FLEX20 for $20 off at fantasylabs.com/flex. We're going to dive into each of our top fives at the skill positions, discuss guys we're high and low on, and we'll have some player props for each position as well. Koerner, but first, got to go with the Cardio Kings for week 14, which are the guys who ran the most routes without getting a target. Who we got?
Yeah, tight end was really interesting week. Nobody had 10 or more targets, 10 or more routes without seeing a target. So John Bates actually led the way with 9, which is interesting timing because with Ertz out, I'm guessing Bates will be the lead tight end for the Commanders. So fresh off his Cardio King week, welcome John Bates. And then the Cardio King of week 14 was our guy, Brandon Cooks, with 15 routes and no targets, and that kind of glut of receivers they have in Buffalo now.
Yeah, Buffalo, they lost the plot with that, with whatever they were doing with that. Like, oh, everyone's gonna eat, but then we're gonna get rid of Diggs, but then Corey Coleman's gonna be our top receiver. And
then we're gonna bring Gabe Davis back, and Pepper.
Yeah, and then we're gonna bring Gabe Davis back. And then we're going to sign Brandon Cooks, who can't be. Brandon Cooks' main issue this year has been what? He has like one catch all year against man coverage. Like, why, of all receivers, why Brandon Cooks? It doesn't make. And last year, Amari Cooper. I watched all of his snaps on all 22, like again in the playoffs last year because I was trying to, every time there would be a Bills game, important to handicap everyone for the props, and like he would literally just run to where the play was not. Every play. And now you have like 4 more guys on the roster that are going to do the exact same thing. Khalil Shakir only can he only really beats zone. I don't get it's almost as bad. Before, I know this is a rant, but what the fuck are the Atlanta Falcons doing? Like, there's something wrong with that team. They come in, it's supposed to be like a heavy 1-1 personnel team. Ray McLeod last year is like a 90% routes runner. This year, they come in, they cut McLeod because he can't run block for shit. And then every receiver they have on the roster gets healthy scratched, even when they're healthy. Like freaking Washington, why is he on the roster? Agnew does not play receiver, but he's active every week just to return kicks for some reason. Kadara Hodge, who knows if he's healthy or not, scratched either way. Like, and then Mooney gets no targets even when London's out. Like, I've never seen a bigger drop off with like less useful receivers. And they claim Malik Heath. They already got like 6 Malik Heaths.
And their top, the guy that led the team in routes run rate was David Sills, the 5th, right? Not the 4th.
He's terrible.
The 5th.
Yeah, he should be the 5th receiver. David Sills should be the 5th.
David Sills
should be the V. Yeah. He should be the V. You know how you have the X, the Y, and the Z receivers? He should be the V as in like off on the sideline. Like,
preach.
I
don't know what's going on there. In London's, I think he's already missing practice, so it seems like another week of David Sills the 5th leading the way.
It's absurd. It's just like you don't keep guys on your team, on your roster that like when you have like these, if you have a bunch of these like 4th, 5th receiver types, like they're supposed to be intriguing at least, and they're supposed to be good on special teams. These guys are either only good on special teams or don't even play special teams. Like it's absurd to me. Like I'm looking at the Falcons every week, and I'm wondering why Darnell Mooney's coming out as like my wide receiver 40, even when like London is out, and it's like because he can only get targeted down the field. Their whole offense is centered around London, and Cousins hasn't completed a pass over like 10 yards. So it's. Yeah.
Apparently they're a luck side for Thursday Night Football, so they're going to cover the spread somehow. But we get to watch them.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly. We get to watch them up close and personal on Thursday night this week.
I can't believe it. Like I went through this rant in my head the other day, and then I was like, I literally said they have like 6 Malik Heaths, because Malik Heath had been cut. He hadn't been claimed by them yet. And then I saw he got claimed by them, and I was like, oh no. Like there's gotta be a disconnect. It's gotta be a disconnect between the GM and because the coach clearly like he played Raybon McLeod 90% last year and then was like, you know what, you can't even run block, get off my team. So it's gotta be, and then they're scratching and calling up guys from the practice squad every week. It's gotta be some type of disconnect there. But let's go to quarterback here. Interesting week for quarterback. Week 15. Coming off just a lot of struggles by some of the usual top tier guys. Who do we got in the top 5?
Yeah, if Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, Lamar Jackson, and Drake May.
Yeah, I got Allen, May, Stafford, Stafford, Burrow, and wait, Jackson Dart's my number 2. Allen, Dart, May.
Yeah.
Burrow, Prescott.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like Dak and Stafford being up there with like no rushing upside is something to behold. Where do you have Lamar? Because he's facing the Bengals again. Is he like QB6?
Yeah, he's QB6. I think I should. I mean, I kind of want to put him in my top 5. Maybe Dart needs to be lowered, but I'm not really buying this decreased recklessness from him. I feel like he's still gonna just scramble a lot, so it's tough. But
Dart, yeah, you can't change. He's gonna just have to learn naturally. But that's kind of the knock on him. I was like, he's going to run like Josh Allen. But he's going to be reckless. He's going to probably pick up some injuries along the way. But I think those are just kind of learning curves, right? And he'll get better at that. But he's not going to change anytime soon, at least this year.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think the bigger issue is the quarterbacks who aren't running, like Jalen Hurts and Lamar hasn't been running as much. You know what I mean? Those are the guys.
That's what I was going to ask. I don't know why I'm not just hammering Hurts rush attempt prop. It was like 7.5 or like
8.5. I think it got up to 8.5. Yeah, I was looking at that too.
I'm not just hammering that. They even starting to have a wrinkle in the tush push, right, where they just pitched it to Barkley and he ran for 50 yards. So I don't even think we had a tush push last night. But he's not scrambling. If he is trying, he gets sacked. But yeah, he's just not running the ball. So I don't know what value he's providing anymore.
Jalen Hurts is the new Russell Wilson. That's what it seems like. Like, you remember when Russell Wilson, like, he was like really good that one year? He didn't win it. I mean, he did win a chip, but I don't know if it was the year after that. I think it was like 2021 or something. Like he had like a really good season, and then he came back the next year, and I guess wanted to prove that he was like a pocket passer still, and stopped running, and it was just like I think it was his first Denver year or something. He just like went downhill. I mean, it's like these guys have success, and then they're like, all right, they have something to prove or something. Like, I'm not gonna run anymore, or maybe it's their team around them. So you gotta preserve your health, whatever it is. It makes no sense.
It's a good comp. Like someone like Dak has been able to do that because he was pretty run heavy, especially in college, and now he's just turned into like a legit pocket passer. But yeah, Hurts is not making that transition. That's clear. Yeah,
I mean, any quarterback that can't beat zone coverage is a big red flag, because that's like 2/3 of the coverage you see every week in the NFL, at least. And he's going up against the 2 zone heaviest teams. It was the Chargers and like number 2, and the Raiders this week are number 1. So like, talk about a brutal matchup that it doesn't even look like a brutal matchup. I mean, we got to talk about Hurts later, but let's start with guys we're high on. Who do you like for week 15?
Yeah, I'm high on CJ Stroud at home against the Cardinals here. Like I mentioned on the waiver pod, I was actually surprised to see him all the way up to QB 12 for me. But it makes sense if you look at the landscape this week. Even with no teams on bye, we have some quarterbacks that are hurt. Daniel Jones is out for the season. Jaden Daniels might not play this week. And there's some tough matchups out there. And, a lot of freezing cold games. We might have some weather. So this game's indoors. The Texans have the 6th highest team total. This could still, even though their defense is legit, it could still turn into some kind of shootout against the Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett's going to be slinging it around. So, and obviously Nico Collins is amazing, but I really think Jaden Higgins could really start to pop over these final few weeks. So I love the duo they have there. for Stroud, and he has Dalton Schultz in the mix. So I like his pass catching options, and we could see him start to scramble a bit more. I know he's been a little hesitant to do that since returning from the concussion, but I think a few weeks removed now, we might see some of that sneaky rushing upside he showed earlier in the season. So having said all that, he's all the way in my QB 12. It is early. There's a lot of guys close. He could end up being, my QB 18 or something like that. But just the fact that the Texans team total is this high, I think it's a week where, his touchdown odds are elevated. And I think for someone like him, that definitely helps. So, so I think he's kind of like a fringe QB1, QB2 option this week.
Yeah, always does better indoors as well. His home road splits are pretty drastic for his career. I'm high on, as I mentioned, Jackson Dart. Might get kind of like a Snover type of situation in the Meadowlands as well. It's like right now it's 35 forecast temperature, only a 5% chance of snow. So you probably get nothing. Winds are in the single digits. But if you get snow, with this Washington defense that doesn't know where receivers are going already, now you add moisture. I mean, it could be really bad for the Washington defense. But either way, like Jackson Dart in this spot, just a piss poor Washington pass defense. Dart's still going to scramble, still going to run around. And Tyrone Tracy is banged up, and they haven't really been doing anything with their number 3 back. So I think Dart actually could see an uptick in design runs this week coming out of the bye. So I'm not going to be kind of dissuaded by, all the talk around him. I think he's still a high-end quarterback option, especially with all the guys that we normally rely on to provide rushing upside. Some of them are kind of in just weird purgatory, like Lamar and Jalen Hurts. I think Dart is going to be pretty dependable going up against Washington this week. All right, low. Who we low on?
I'm low on Bo Nix against the Packers. He's been decent the last 2 games. He's the QB 12, but he did face the Commanders and Raiders. But this is obviously a much tougher matchup here against the Packers. And the Broncos implied team totals is 20 points, which is the 11th lowest of the week. So his touchdown odds are a bit lower here. And he just really hasn't been offering a high enough rushing floor to be, matchup proof as you'd like. Especially if you took him, what did he go, like QB8 in the draft this year? I think his ADP was like QB8. So, especially what could be, the opening week of your playoffs, it's not great to have, Nick's sitting there, QB19 to open the week for me. So there might be some of these guys we've been talking about on the waiver wire who I would roll with over him. But if you want to just lower your expectations and stick with the guys that got you there, you can go with him. But either way, I'm downgrading Knicks quite a bit this week against the Packers.
Yeah, no, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare matchup because it's a good defense and it's another zone heavy defense. He's kind of been like the I guess rich man's version of Jalen Hurts, where he also struggles a lot against zone coverage. And last week, he played well, all things considered. Completed 31 of 38 passes, only got 212 yards. If he doesn't get that rushing touchdown, he does absolutely nothing. He had no touchdowns passing, no picks, but only 15 yards rushing because against his zone defense, you're not necessarily going to be running a ton. So it could be another game like that where he's making the right decisions, but doesn't necessarily translate into fantasy production for him. So yeah, I agree with that. I think he's kind of on the outside looking in this week. I'm low on the quarterback on the opposite side of that game, Jordan Love. I know I've been high on him, and he's been very productive over the last few weeks. But going to Denver in this, it's a spot where things could kind of regress to the mean for Love. He's been relying on throwing the ball down the field. This Denver defense, especially with Surtain healthy, is top 2-3 pass defense in the league, right there with Houston. And so I think this is a week where probably want to lay off Love, especially because on the other side, you have that really good Packers defense, and Bo Nix and the Broncos, against man, they could generate a lot of explosives, could turn into more of a shootout. But we saw this game against the Raiders where it was just like dink and dunk all day. So the Broncos could actually possess the ball, a long time in this game. And then the Packers, we know them, they could switch to more of a run heavy kind of game plan at any given notice. That might be smart in this spot. So yeah, I think Love Jacobs has been banged up. The receivers have been getting healthier. I think it's been a good couple weeks, 3-week stretch for Love, but I think you want to go away from him as well this week, especially because he's not really providing much rushing upside either. All right, quarterback prop. Man, been waiting for this. I'm just gonna go straight up with Jalen Hurts here. Over under a quarterback finish of 12.5. So is he still worth starting in a regular 12-team league, opening week of the playoffs for some, must-win game for others? But does this guy do you still have confidence in starting him as a top 12 option? Because remember, this is the Raiders defense. They, on paper it looks like okay, it's the Eagles have a higher team total, but this Raiders defense plays more zone than anybody in the league. We saw what they did to Bo Nix. We saw what the zone coverage did to Hurts for the Chargers, who play like maybe 0.1% less. So it could be a worse matchup for Hurts than it looks like on paper. And you mentioned that the tush pushes aren't coming necessarily with as much frequency. So where are you on Hurts?
Yeah, well, oh man, yeah, you're gonna have me geeking out about my sim and the odds of finishing top 12. I think that's a fair one. The fact that there's no teams on bye this week does make it tougher to actually finish in the top 12. So even if he's, ranked QB 10, it doesn't necessarily mean he's favored to finish in the top 12. So that's probably pretty close to a coin flip. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he's going to finish outside of the top 12, but that's not to say you shouldn't start him, over like a Caleb Williams type this week. But that's a really good line because I think he's going to be closer to a coin flip. And then I'm just trying to think, if Daniel Jones is out, if Jaden Daniels is out, I know you still like Mariota. That would probably help his upside a bit. But just he's not running the ball as much. So it's just he has a tougher time getting there. So I'm going to take the over 12.5 on Hurts. But that's a good line.
Yeah. No, it's tough because I think a lot of people are going to blame it's not just him, it's the coordinator. The run game hasn't been as good. I think it's probably mostly Jalen Hurts' fault because he apparently asked for fewer runs designed, right? And it seems like, okay, so this Petulio's been there for a while, so maybe Hurts felt comfortable, like, okay, it's not run me as much. So that's happened, but they haven't replaced those design runs with just like Tank Bigsby runs or something, like who's been tearing it up. They replaced them with more passes for Hurts, which he can't do. So that just hamstrings the offense. And then because no one's scared of the passing game this year, they stacked Barkley's running into stack boxes like 1.5x, 2x more than he was a year ago. And, most of his big runs are coming on like deception and things like that. So yeah, I think it Hurts is at the root of this issue. And we'll see if he, kind of wants to switch it up and just go back to running more, because he clearly didn't in this game. With all the chatter about it, he didn't. He continued to throw the ball into situations that he can't read. I don't even know if he's good against man coverage or he just plays the same against all coverages and doesn't. And it's just like, when you're playing somebody in Madden and you're trying to call good defenses, and they're just like, I'm just gonna throw it up to my number one receiver regardless. And so if you played man, you're screwed. But if you played zone,
well, to be fair, I think AJ Brown could have caught one of those passes. But yeah, you're right. And I think, Lane Johnson missing time.
Yeah, that's big.
Hurts was under a shit ton of pressure. It was like, Next Gen Stats was like, it was the most pressure per dropback since, 1930 or something crazy like that, when they weren't even tracking pressure. But the fact that he's not willing to scramble is the problem, right? Because, if he's getting under pressure that much, he used to just scramble and, the defense would have to kind of play that. But I think I said before the season started, if he misses time, I would actually bump up the passing game projections if Tanner McKee was under center, because he's not going to be running as much. And I think he's a pretty good pocket passer. So I mean, what are the odds they do go to McKee at some point? Probably like closer to like 2%, right?
Yeah. Because you can't bench Hurts with all this chatter now. This is a Nick Sirianni problem, but I don't think his answer is going to be benching Hurts, because they're still a Super Bowl winning team. All right, running back for week 15, Koerner, who you got in the top 5?
I got CMC, Jameer Gibbs, Devon Achan, assuming he plays, James Cook, and Saquon Barkley.
Got McCaffrey, Gibbs, John Robinson, Chan, and James Cook. Still don't trust Barkley. Still don't trust Barkley.
Fair,
Still don't trust it.
fair,
I
fair.
mean, is Wayne Johnson probably missing again, right? He's not
He's
too bad.
questionable to open the week. It seems like he always like tries to play through it and then re-aggravates it. So who knows? But yeah, that's definitely something that will probably impact my final rank. And I have Bijan right there. So yeah, he's hanging on by a thread, that's for sure.
Yeah, in the Sirianni era, I believe the Eagles the total is now 3-8-1. So like under, like the over is 3-8-1, and then there's 4-8 to their implied total under, or 8-4, 8-4 to the under on their implied totals.
Oh,
So
okay, gotcha.
yeah.
Wow.
It's like the over is 4-8. Yeah, so like that in the Sirianni era, without Wayne Johnson. So it is big for the
Yeah.
run game too, I think. Uh okay, who are you high on at running back?
I'm high on Woody Marks at home against the Cardinals. Just really continues to struggle with efficiency. But that doesn't matter if he's getting 26 carries, right? So he had a season high 26 rush attempts against the Chiefs. A lot of that, had to do with Nick Chubb forced out of the game with that rib injury. No clue if he's going to return this week. But even if Chubb's out, I don't know if the Texans have another running back they really trust enough to eat into Mark's workload the same way that Chubb does. So, I'm expecting a pretty big workload for Marks this week. He's pretty involved in the passing game as well. So, he has an excellent matchup against the Cardinals that allowed Blake Corum for 120 plus rushing yards, Kyron for 80 plus rushing yards, and even Ronnie Rivers had some fun against them with 40 plus rushing yards. So I think this is a good spot for Marks to kind of combine that volume with, slightly better efficiency. So he's all the way up to RB11 for me to open the week. And I'm actually projecting Chubb to play. So he might, crack my top 10 if Chubb is ruled out. But that's got to be the highest Marks will ever be in my rankings.
Probably would have been higher if Agunbawale hadn't gotten that goal line
Oh,
touchdown.
yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
Jesus. Maybe
yeah.
this is a week you bet the Mark's first touchdown, Agunbawale last touchdown or something like that if Chubb's out.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
like if they're blowing him out, like British Brooks, your guy Corey Schrader,
Cody Schrader.
who
Oh yeah, he's a
who
problem.
yeah Corey yeah if Chubb's out, he's probably active, right? They've typically had like four, even sometimes even five backs active, right? So, gonna have to sort that out. But yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah,
Can't
Cody
do the
Schrader.
can't do the erection selection parlay though if Chubb's out. Damn it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Cody Schrader. I mean, I don't know because they signed Schrader to they cut Jakob Johnson, but they'll probably bring Johnson back. He'll probably be the third tight end again, slash fullback, H back, whatever. So I mean, there's a chance. There's a chance it's just the same exact lineup except Chubb. Maybe it would be Schrader active for Chubb. Schrader could still be inactive, like just like the Damian Pierce inactive
Yeah.
role if
But
everything goes bad.
none of these guys are commanding, like 3+ carries, I would say.
Yeah, only
Unless
Chubb,
it's
only
just a
Chubb.
blowout. Yeah,
Yeah,
unless it's like a blowout, Ronnie Rivers style. So yeah, I'm projecting Marks near his ceiling. So even with, the lack of efficiency, he's still popping in my model.
yeah, and I mean, part of that was it was just that kind of game last week.
Yeah.
Low scoring, get a lot of carries when you don't convert, and so I don't think that's going to be an every week thing for Marks. I think it'll be more efficient in this matchup. I'm high on Chris Rodriguez Jr. against the Giants. He's still the lead back for the Commanders, and this Giants defense has been the worst in the league against the run. This is a game where they should fare better. They had just 52 plays on offense against the Vikings, 52 snaps, and trailing game script pretty much from the jump. So not a good spot for Rodriguez. But this is a game 2.5 point spread in a game against a bad run defense. Could be some weather. I don't think it'll have a huge impact, but it looks like we're gonna get Mariota again. So think Rodriguez could be kind of the focal point of the offense in this spot against the Giants. So I like him. He's still around like ECR running back 30. I think he's kind of borderline RB2 for me heading into the week. Who are you low on?
I'm low on Bucky Irving. Opens the week as my RB20. It looks like ECR still has him, like RB7, top 10. I think that might be wishful thinking at this point because, he finally did return from his injury a couple weeks ago, and he has seen, decent workload. This is now 2 straight games where he's seen 17 plus touches, which is all we can ask for with Bucky, right? Like, I think he's extremely talented. So that's certainly enough work for him to put up good numbers. But, Rashad White and Sean Tucker have been playing well, and, they both ate into his workload a little bit more last week. So I just think, given their skill sets, they could really cap Bucky's upside quite a bit, which you don't like to see because if you took Bucky, he was inside, the top 10 at running back. So not what you're looking for. And Bucky, just even when he has been healthy this year, hasn't been that efficient. If you look at, the top the 45 qualified running backs right now, in terms of success rate, the lowest is Ramondre Stevenson, which shouldn't be too shocking. The second lowest success rate is Bucky Irving. He just hasn't been as, efficient this year. So, with, Sean Tucker playing well, Rashad White's actually been really, decent this year. I just think this could be more of a murky committee than people want. So, a lot lower on Bucky heading into this week. So, yeah, he's all the way down to RB20 against Falcons for me.
Yeah, and it's part of it. I think is just that the challenge of trying to work in those 3 backs too. With it's like a Falcon situation where it's like when Algier's there, it's like the defense just kind of knows it's a run. It's like Bucky is not the passing down back like per se, and then and then Tucker is like another early down back. So it's like you kind of you're expecting runs, and they don't have Liam Cohen there, so that the line probably took a step back. So yeah, it's been a little tougher. I thought he's played like he's looked good himself, but yeah, it's the efficiency hasn't really been there for him. I'm low on Chase Brown, kind of a similar situation for him, where it's the efficiency in this matchup. I don't think will be as great. Against the Bills, it wasn't really there, but he did bail himself out with a couple of touchdowns. But P. Ryan has been cutting into the work. 22 snaps for P. Ryan, 40 for Brown. It's cutting it a little close there in a game where they ran 60 snaps. You want Brown to be, 70% plus. He was around 65% and a little less if you count, the fact that they were on the field together a couple times. 12 carries to 6 for Brown, and then 28 pass snaps to 16. So he's, the variance in any given game, he could end up with, 10 touches for 40 yards or something like that. No touchdowns. And he's going to sink you. So he's the ECR RB10. I think that's a little rich for Chase Brown in this matchup because the Ravens have been a lot better against the run over the past, the last 2/3 of the season. They started out really poorly first 5 games, but they've been much improved ever since. So not the easiest matchup, and definitely not as good of a matchup as Buffalo. So low on Chase Brown this week. I think you were low on him last week, if I want to say. I think that was the right call, even though he did get in the end zone.
Of course he scored.
But it was the right call. It was the right call.
Yeah. We're big on process here. But yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Running back prop.
Yeah, so this is a tough one because they were on bye this week. The Panthers were on bye, but before they went on bye, we saw Chuba Hubbard, the guy making way more money, have a better game, and he kind of operated as the lead back. So kind of curious where you're projecting them and kind of your thoughts on what to expect from this backfield this week, because we kind of need to make lineup decisions based on these guys. So I'm gonna just do Rico Dowdle versus Chuba Hubbard, half PPR scoring, and I'm gonna make Dowdle a favorite still.
Okay.
And I'm going to make him a 1.9 half PPR point favorite. Who are you going with?
Ooh, Chuba, because he's number one. I think he was trending up like a couple of games. I want to say before the bye, like those last maybe 2 games. I think Chuba was trending up, Dowdle was trending down. They've had time to think about it. Chuba's should be healthy. And if there's a split, you're getting more passing work for Chuba at this point, I would think. It's kind of the way it's set up. So like earlier in the year, I think it was like Dowda was more of like the pass down back, and Chuba was kind of the early down back. And then it's kind of switched now where if Dowda is still the starter, I still think Chuba would get that pass down work. So I kind of want that in a situation like this. The Saints have been feisty, and
Hmm.
they've been decent against the run. So I think I want the passing down back, who could just be the lead back. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of it's a
Yeah.
leap of faith a little bit, but I think we might see with the buy and time to think about it, and like you said, the contract. I think Chuba trending up. So yeah, I'm
Hmm.
gonna go Chuba.
You have them like pretty close. Would you say both are kind of like high end RB3 flex options or like low end RB2? Like how are you kind of
Yeah,
evaluating?
I
And
think high end RB3 flex options because the Saints, like I said, the Saints they've been decent and it's a low total game, so you could get in a situation where the backfield combines for like 20 carries for 70 yards and no touchdowns. So it's
yeah.
yeah. What about
Yeah,
you?
both backs have a wide range of outcomes because it could be just hot hand where, there was that one game they kind of just alternated each drive the whole game, right? So they've tried that out. They might go with like, or Chuba starts, the other one gets the next drive, and then just go with the hot hand where one back has a really game and the other is kind of left in the dust. It's just a really volatile situation where I feel for you if you have to make a call, but I'd say, yeah, starting both, um, just lower expectations, I think would make sense here, but yeah, I think it's gonna be very close.
Yeah, like Dowdle, I think might even have like in he might have a lower floor than it looks if he's kind of shut out of the
Yeah,
passing down work again, because then he has the
yeah,
floor of being the number two back, and then the floor of not seeing many catches either, which is
yeah.
compared to where he's going to probably be ranked, is it could be disastrous. All right, wide receiver top five.
Let's see. I got oh, here, hold on. Filter out for DFS slates. Okay, there we go. Now I got the full top five. All right, I got JSN number one, obviously, and then Jamar Chase, Puka Nakua, Amon Ra, and George Pickens.
Yeah, I got JSN Chase. No, JSN Nakua Chase, Rasheed Rice, and Amon Ra. So I'm not knocking Rice as much for that game against Houston, I guess. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was one of those games where you could kind of see the Chiefs being in a tougher
Mhm.
spot. This is more zone heavy defense. So I think Rice will be okay. Adams is close too. I'm assuming Amon Ra is good to go, right? Like I mean, he had like 90 yards against the
Yeah, he
Cowboys. So
he like played through a doubtful tag. I was pissed because I locked into Slaw's receiving yard prop earlier in the morning, but the whole market was just kind of assuming Amon Ra was out, and then he played and he was obviously fine. So yeah, that was rough. But yeah, so I'm guessing he's totally fine. So he's gonna have 10 days now
yeah.
to rest up. So yeah, I'm guessing he's gonna be like 100% by then.
Okay. Who are you high on at receiver?
I'm high on Debo Samuel this week. His days of offering wide receiver one upside are clearly over. And he's been kind of teetering in that like wide receiver three range for me. Um, and Terry McLaurin's back. Even Noah Brown is back, and he had a full-time role. I don't really see those two really impacting Debo as much. He kind of has his role, underneath. Maybe see design carry or two. But I think with Zach Ertz now out with the torn ACL, that does give Debo specifically maybe a couple more targets a game going forward because we're going to see, a guy like John Bates probably take over as lead tight end and Ben Sennett probably mix in a bit more. But overall, I think we're going to see fewer targets going to the tight end position in general. And we kind of saw that with Austin Eckler also getting ruled out for the season. He was commanding a higher target share than all these running backs combined. So I think just Debo Samuel probably offers a high enough floor now to be like a high end wide receiver three this week against the Giants. So, I'm opening up with him like wide receiver 25, which is a bit higher than he usually is in my ranks. And I think just like I said, a lot of that just has to do with Ertz being out kind of opens up targets specifically to Debo, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's Commanders' offense. It's got to be McLaurin and Debo on the pass game now. I mean, they cut Chris Moore. The other, I mean, Noah Brown. I don't think he's going to be a big part of it. We'll see. Maybe his production will go up, but who knows? I mean, I think Debo has got to be the guy they look to close out the year. But just a weird year for that Commanders offense. Lost year. In a year where the Eagles look vulnerable too. They could have made some noise. I feel like if maybe if Daniel stays healthy. I'm high on Yosavash for the Bengals. I think that we're gonna see T. Higgins miss again. He was in the concussion protocol. What? This is the second time in a month now that Higgins is in the concussion protocol.
Well, he went into it like in the game and then he came back in. So that was a problem, that he was out there taking hits even though it looked like he had a concussion. So yeah, I'm just ruling him out at this point in my projections.
Yeah, and we know Burton's not gonna, like, he'll probably get healthy scratch for some unforeseen reason.
Burton's gone.
They really cut him? Oh, I didn't even see that.
He's gone.
What?
He is gone.
Oh, they cut when? Holy crap.
He is so far gone.
I was just marking him down for 0% routes run. I didn't even realize they cut him.
He just joined the Browns practice squad. I'm joking, but he is actually cut. He's gone. He's not a Bengal anymore.
Oh wow! No, I didn't see that on the transaction. Oh yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I must have missed that. I usually do my normal like Monday transaction, just like it's just like guys who are like, oh, rejoins practice squad. So I must have rolled past it, thought they were just putting him like on IR or something. But yeah, he's
he's cooked.
Wow. The Falcons will claim him, and he'll be their best receiver or second best receiver.
He has the talent, but they suspended him last week, and then they just said that's that. Yeah. And Abdul Carter is dangerously approaching this territory. I hate to say it, but getting suspended every week.
I mean, I think he's better than Burton, so hopefully not. But yeah. So that's just another thing that Yosavash doesn't have to deal with. Always like Mitch Tinsley for like a touchdown if T. Higgins is out, but I think Yosavash, he'll be probably 90% or so routes run, so he has a chance to be like a wide receiver 4 in this matchup. You know, with Higgins. I mean, Higgins has been commanding a pretty big target share and got a couple touchdowns even with Chase in there. So I like Yosavash this week. I don't think Higgins is going to play, so I know he hasn't been officially ruled out. But yeah, it's usually a 9-day thing with a concussion, and then you have two in a month. I would think almost certainly he's not active. All right, who are you low on?
I'm lower on Cortland Sutton this week against the Packers. Similar reason why I'm lower on Bo Nix, obviously, but Sutton's coming off a couple solid games here against the Raiders and Commanders, easier matchups. But there's just a lot of moving pieces in this offense as always. But RJ Harvey getting a season high, 60% routes run rate could eat into Sutton's, target share, because Harvey's been able to command, a pretty high target share. So if he's seeing more routes, that could eat into everybody's target rate. But Evan Ingram last week saw a big dip in target rate, so I think he could bounce back this week, even though I don't think he's a play himself. But they're.
He hasn't bounced.
Pat Bryant.
He hasn't bounced. Evan Ingram hasn't bounced to where he can bounce back. Like, he hasn't bounced initially, I feel like.
Well, he's been like hovering around like a 22% target rate, right? The problem is he's just not out there. So that's why you can't play him. But last week he also wasn't seeing targets. So it's gonna bounce back from last week. But Pat Bryant is really starting to see, more playing time, a higher target share. So there's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. And Sutton usually is the stable force, and he still is. But I just think this week he has a lower floor than usual because, again, I'm downgrading Knicks and, the offense in general this week against the Packers. So he's, wide receiver 38. He's probably going to be in sit-start decisions this week, depending on how many wide receivers you start. So, a little bit lower on Sutton this week. Again, nice little solid 2-game stretch here, but this is a much, much tougher matchup here.
Yeah, but Evan Ingram has 2 games of double-digit fantasy points. One of them 2 weeks ago.
He doesn't score. He has 0 touchdowns, right? He hasn't scored a touchdown.
He has one. He has one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has one. But yeah, let me see. I mean, his target rate's been decent,
He's done
right?
nothing all year. He's done absolutely
20%.
nothing. Yeah, but like look at the numbers. He's done nothing. Like it's just he has one
Right.
game where he
Again.
had a touchdown, and then one game where he had 70 something yards against Washington, and that's really been it for him. So yeah, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
Sutton.
he's in the same offense, commanding the same target rate as this guy that we're shitting on. Just Sutton is out there for, way more snaps.
Yeah,
Um, but Bryant is an emerging option in this offense. And I'm high on Franklin. Franklin's playing. I don't know what the hell happened, but Franklin's playing time took a huge hit. Um, so that's interesting. But yeah, it's just always something. Oh, little Jordan Humphrey.
Lil
He
John. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. So he saw a 33% target rate. So anyways, it's a shit show as always. Who is usually the stable force is my wide receiver 38 this week. That's my entire point.
Yeah, Will Jordan Humphrey is essentially what they want out of Evan Ingram, like a big-bodied, run-blocking, red
Yeah.
zone threat.
Maybe he'll be
uh,
my touchdown pick this week if I get this game.
didn't they sign Elijah Moore? I want to say it is that
Yeah.
him? Right? Yeah, they
Yeah, yeah.
did.
Yeah, he's on the practice squad, but he could pop up at any time too, right?
Yeah, because they lost Sherfield. So I mean, well, I guess Elijah Moore doesn't play special teams, so they probably wouldn't. That's why they probably have Humphrey up
Mm.
instead of Moore. Um. Okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I've been high on this guy. I mean, he was my touchdown bet everywhere last week. Michael Wilson, and I'm low on him this week. He is the ECR wide receiver 12. This is Houston, not fucking with it. Just not messing around with the Houston defense. I don't care how good Wilson's been. If Marvin Harrison is not back, and well, Greg Dortch is on IR, so he's done. So what would the lineup be if Harrison is back? Because Zay Weaver's not a slot guy either, right? So like, what do they do at slot?
Elijah Higgins. Yeah, I don't know.
He's like the Evan Ingram of the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he
just
saw a
out there.
huge I almost took his prop. He saw a huge increase in playing time, but what do you get, like one target?
Oh yeah, no
Um,
no yard. Just yeah, pretty sure.
yeah, he's just there to watch Trey McBride.
Mm.
And I'm pissed that Triple Crown Michael
Oh,
Wilson.
I was looking at that because I was like, oh my god, if they complete that pass, if they get in the end zone, that's it. Like that,
Yeah.
you win it, and
Well,
then they just stalled out.
yeah. Yeah, the problem
Oh.
is Puka saw like 100% of the Rams yardage. I needed Xavier Smith to just catch one longer pass or like Devontae to do something. But someone took what I did and did the smart thing. They took Corm to lead the game in rushing, Jacoby to lead the game in passing, and then they just took Michael Wilson 100 plus receiving yards, and it paid out exactly the same, like 30 to 1. So Wilson had 100 plus yards, and then you just remove Puka from the equation at that point. So
No,
he
but but
cashed
but
in.
but, but Stafford. I thought Stafford led the game.
Oh, he
Stafford led
did?
the game.
Oh no.
Jacoby
So
did. They
the
didn't get
guy,
that last drive. They had 16 yards to
that's
go.
right.
And if Jacoby gets
In
that
theory,
touchdown, it's 10. It's
yeah,
16 yards. He
it
finishes
was.
with like six more than Stafford.
Yeah, it was extremely correlated. He took
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett all over. It was whatever it was, 270 or 250. But it paid
Okay.
out
Okay.
exactly the same because Corum was the whole point
Thing was based on Corum,
was
right?
Corum was like what made it a lotto pick. Like if I use Kyron, obviously I had Kyron for the most rushing yards. It would have paid out 3 to 1 or something, ridiculous. But yeah, somebody like tweaked it to where it was just Michael Wilson 100 plus receiving yards, and you don't even have to worry about Puka in that situation, right? Which I thought was genius.
Yeah, like I was about to take just like all because I think his receiving like his reception prop was like 5.5. I was like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
If everyone's like they didn't even have Weaver in that game. Like it was nuts. But even in
no
like in this,
Weaver,
yeah, no
no
Weaver, no Dortch,
Dortch.
no Harrison. So it
Zay
was
Jones is gone, like just decimated at every position, really, but tight end.
yeah, Benson probably not being gonna come back this year.
Hmm.
DeMarcado's still out, which is another passing option.
And
But
Connor,
and
Connor's
Connor. So yeah,
Connor.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. The only good thing's been Kyler's been out because clearly he didn't know how to get the ball to receivers. Like he's like
Right.
because it's every time like Brissett comes in, Michael Wilson was a cardio king. Brissett comes in, Harrison goes down. Michael Wilson's the number one receiver in fantasy. Harrison comes back, he gets like 8 catches in the first half. So it's like clearly
Yeah.
it's not a scheme. It's like they're probably scheming just every time they don't like first read Trey McBride. It's like Kyler can't do anything, so they just have to.
And
It's
Trey
like a
McBride
wasted.
scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, because you get in the red zone, it's like okay, we could just you could take away guys in the red zone like between the 20s. It's gonna you can't take away everybody, but yeah, it's clear what's going on with the Cardinals, and the issue has been Kyler. So
Yep.
yeah, it's tough, but either way, Michael Wilson low on him just because this Houston matchup is nothing to sniff at. They've been a top team against wide receivers all year, top defense against the pass. And Wilson top 12 this week, not buying it, especially because he got the touchdown last week. He was due. I mean, I think I had him like 3 expected just with Jacoby alone, but you're not really expecting touchdowns against this Houston secondary. I believe they've given up not like I think it's I think it was 6 to receivers all year and 4 to running backs or 4 to tight ends. So just not a ton to the wide receiver position for Houston. And then another guy I'm low on, Chris Godwin. He's a wide receiver 25 in ECR. He's on the injury report again, short week. Bucks have shown that guys can disappear from that offense because they have a lot of mouths to feed. And that's even if, Evans or McMillan or whoever it is don't come back this week because it is a short week. They've resumed practicing, but I'm not sure what the plan is for those guys. But either way, Godwin, I mean, coming off a 5-catch game, 55 yards, that's not something I'm going to be excited about. To lock him in as a top 30 option, I would rather, especially early in the week, I would rather just kind of sit it out and go with somebody else. There's a lot of options at wide receiver that I think would rank. I would have Godwin, pushing top 40 still. He had 78 yards, but it was only 5 targets the week before against Arizona. Piss poor defense. And then 5 catches for 55, which is okay. Nothing much against against the Saints. And now he's hurt again, and it's a short week. So, and Tez didn't get like any targets, and like they could easily just kind of shift this offense around, to make other guys the number one option. And they got all those running backs. So yeah, I think the writing's on the wall for Godwin here. Don't want to use him on Thursday night against Atlanta. Okay, wide receiver prop. Here's the prop. More Jefferson receiving yards. Justin or Van. And I'm going to make Justin a 35.5 yard favorite.
So if he doesn't even get 35.5 yards, I win.
Yeah.
I mean, I have Van way down there. I'm taking the yards because I have it closer to like 31.
Yeah, that's what I think it's about. But I had to inflate it just to get the point for us.
At Dallas. It's at Dallas, to be fair. But yeah, I'll take the points, or in this case, yards.
Man. Yeah, I mean, jeez, Justin Jefferson has just been like I don't know if that's
ranked.
Like 20 something, I think.
Yeah.
What about you?
19th.
Yeah, I mean, he could bounce back, but I mean, even in a game that McCarthy did well, he had 2 catches for 11. That's not good.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good at all.
It's not good. Yeah, like Van Jefferson has been the better receiver over the past like 3 games, which is not good either.
Unreal.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything. Tight end, top 5.
Yeah, so Trey McBride number 1, but the gap between 1 and 2 is much, much tighter this week with the tougher matchup against the Texans. And yeah, George Kittle number 2. Wow, what is going on here? Jake Ferguson, Hunter Henry, and Brock Bowers.
That's interesting. So you have Bowers outside the top 2. Oh, because Kittle. Okay, yeah. Wait, you said Kittle number 2, right?
Yeah, I have Kittle 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have McBride, Bowers, Kittle, Warren, Ferguson. Ugh. Yeah, it's and I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be for the Colts.
for Warren.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
tough. Yeah, it's some tough
I'll
matchup. Yeah,
talk
because
about him in a bit.
I'm looking at the matchups. I'm like, okay, yeah.
We're going
Yeesh.
to talk about Warren very heavily in the prop section, so
Okay,
don't play your hand too much here.
okay.
You don't want to tip me off too much.
Who's the, who are you high on? Who are you high on?
I'm high. Yeah, there's a ton of tight ends I'm high on this week that are like widely available. But I'm going to talk about Colby Parkinson here against the Lions, just because he's been a really, sneaky touchdown bet the past few weeks, especially after, Tyler Higbee went down. But McVay has gone even further down this three tight end hole. Last week, it was just out of control. They had 42 plays with three tight ends, which apparently was like the most in the last 20 years. So, Parkinson had a season high 71% routes run rate last week, and he's been commanding, like a 24% target rate uh, pretty much all season. So if he's getting that much playing time, he is now in the tight end one discussion. And this is, a tougher matchup against the Lions. They like to man up. They're pretty good against tight ends, but AJ Barner had that massive, 10 catch game against them. They're going to be worried about, Puka and Devontae and the running game anyway. So Parkinson could still, have a good game here. And this is a game where the Rams will probably be throwing at a much higher rate. So yeah, Parkinson, I think he has a ton of upside, and he's my tight end 13. I think, again, we talked about Theo Johnson, Harold Fana Jr. If those guys are available, you have to add them and play them. But Parkinson's right in that mix this week for me and potentially going forward.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Parkinson. I mean, he's just I don't think the three tight end stuff even matters for him because he's the early down tight end. Like, regardless of, it's really an issue for Ferguson because he's the third down. He's like a third
Hmm.
down guy, and then he comes in more when they play 1-2, I believe, instead of the like 1-3. So it's just like he has like a weird mix of personnel groupings where he comes in that can kind of get. It depends on the game
Yeah,
script. Yeah.
and they only throw it to him 30 yards downfield too, so he's going to be just an extreme wide range of outcomes guy, whereas Parkinson's getting just more normal targets,
Yeah, he's their
which
lead tight end.
helps.
Like I actually
Yeah,
don't think they would run as much 1-3 this week because like last week it was like
right,
42 plays, not 42 passes. Like it was 42 because of
right,
the game script.
blowout.
In the passing game they've kind of dialed it back a little bit because they've had like the receivers healthy. So yeah, I would think it's Ferguson and Allen that get hurt going forward. Like Parkinson's gonna stay at his
Yep.
normal top tight end one route rate. So yeah, I like him this week as well. I am high on Rondé Gadsden. I mean, I just think he's falling down too far in the ranks. Last week was a tough matchup. This week is a tough matchup too, but I mean, he's tight end 18 in ECR. I just don't think that he should be that low. Herbert is probably going to not have as terrible of a game every week as this one. I mean, this was just this is we almost lost the under. Oh, I was like
Yeah.
sweating the under. I was like, this is surely going to cash in midway through the third quarter, and then it just everything was a field goal, field goal, field goal, field goal. And then Hurts just bailed it out. But yeah, I just think Gadsden's too. I still think he's a top 15 tight end in this matchup against the Chiefs. It's he's still a guy that too much talent really to fade. I think to this level, especially with just a lot of uncertainty at the tight end position. I mean, you even got like we don't really know what's going to happen with the quarterback for Warren and. Mason Taylor is out of the picture now again, which I mean, he was never really in it, but he did get like 5 catches last week. And we'll see what happens with Barner. Maybe he's an option with if Arroyo misses. But yeah, I just think Gadsden's falling too far. The talent's too high. And like no one on the Chargers really did anything in that game. So, I mean, except for Kamani Vidal, who is a guy like everyone thought he was just going to be the backup. He ended up kind of starting, but no one did anything in this game, so I'm kind of giving Gadsden a little bit of a pass too. So just don't. I still think he should be in that like streamer startable discussion this week. I don't think he should be down at tight end 18. Who are you low on?
Yeah, I'm low on Tyler Warren. First of all, let me just say it's been a roller coaster trying to project him these last 24 hours. So, take this with a grain of salt. Because, Daniel Jones, we know he's done for the season. His backup's Riley Leonard, which I would consider a huge downgrade. He's more of a rushing quarterback. He only scrambled once this game, but I think if they have a week to prepare for him, they would be very run heavy and he would be scrambling a lot more. So just the overall passing volume would be down. And they just have a ton of weapons there. He could spread it around to, Pittman, Downs, Pierce. So now that they signed Philip Rivers, like Philip Rivers might be starting. I think I'm going to bump Tyler Warren up because we've seen Rivers fuel a Hall of Fame career in Antonio Gates at tight end. So he should know that he has one of the best tight ends in the game in Tyler Warren. So I think, my rank for Warren's probably going to settle in like the tight end 12 range, where, if you've been banking on him all season, that's not good heading into the fantasy playoffs. So we'll have to see how this shapes up. But he's not going to be in my top five this week, most likely. So yes, he's been really tricky to project. I think if you have him, you probably still have to roll him out there, but definitely need to kind of downgrade him this week. Especially this is a tougher matchup. They're at Seattle. This is a very good defense, so it's gonna be tougher sledding for everybody. But I haven't seen Philip Rivers play in 6 years, so who the hell knows what this is gonna look like. Very, just volatile situation, and Warren unfortunately is going to be impacted by it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would bump him up with Philip Rivers. The fact that they're playing Philip Rivers. I mean, of all the
it would be like if Leonard's out and they kind of want to hold out on Rivers, it would be Brett Rippon, right? Who's the last guy standing there if Rivers doesn't start this? It's Brett Rippon, right?
Is it? I don't know. They might sign somebody like Tim Boyle. Where's Tim Boyle at these days?
Didn't I have a side bet with you? Like Brett Rippon will have at least one more career start.
Probably.
He's one of those guys. We were.
Yeah.
I don't think we made an official bet, but I think we made some side bets on like Rippon and Tim Boyle career starts. But yeah, we don't even know who's starting this week. But either way, it's going to be a downgrade for me.
Where's Jeff Driscoll when you need him, man?
That's Riley Leonard. My comp for Riley Leonard is Jeff Driscoll. So they already got him.
Yeah. They would probably just. I mean, either way, they're probably preparing to go super run heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe they could even activate their fourth running. They have Giddens usually sitting it out on the bench. So it's not a great situation. I'm probably going to downgrade Warren outside the top 5 now that I look at it, because it's whoever it is just doesn't give me much of a.
Well, Warren's their emergency quarterback, so it might be like a Taysom Hill. So
True.
Maybe you'll have to bump him up, right? Like
He's not bumping up above Kittle or Bowers or Bride.
No.
I have him 4. I can't go any higher. He's
right. Yeah.
out.
No, that's pretty high. It would take a lot for me to get there, but he has some unique paths, I guess, other than catching passes, because he does get some rush attempts. So we'll see. We'll see where my rank ends up at the end of the week, but I feel like he's just the more interesting projection to open the week.
That's why he stays high, because he has like a share of their design carries, which I think will go up this week.
Yep.
All right. I'm low on another rookie, Colston Loveland. He's the tight end 12 in ECR. So if Rome Odunze's out, I think people are going to be very tempted to go with Loveland again. And I think he cracked my top 15 last week. Maybe he was 16. I don't know. He was there. He was close. But this week, going up against Cleveland, it is a game that there's a lot of different ways it could go game script wise. I mean, you're a 7-point favorite. You might not have to throw that much. They do play a lot of man coverage, which is not great for tight ends. Loveland's not the worst against man coverage, but still not great. But the real issue is that just because Loveland has been somewhat productive doesn't mean he's really like a number 1 type tight end. He ran a route on 23 of the 40 pass plays, the 40 dropbacks last week, and Cole Kmet ran a route on 24. So, 24 to 22 was the routes, actually. Excuse me. And then Kmet was actually in there from more overall passing plays. He happened to block on 5. Loveland only had to block once, but that's not good. That means even with Kmet being like the number 1 pass blocker, Loveland still didn't outrun him in routes. and Durham Smythe has been mixing in for, he got nine routes as well last week. So I think there's too much variance here to project him as a top 12 option. Even if Roma Dunze is out, I think I would still be looking at the wide receivers against these man coverage looks versus Loveland, who I think is like he's kind of in that same group as like a Gadsden or all those guys would be. So like I don't know. I don't get how we're getting like six, 7 spots higher for him than Gadsden and all these guys. So yeah, Loveland is a guy I'm low on at tight end this week. Prop. Tyler Warren?
Tyler Warren receiving yards. Again, I'm not low on the talent at all. I'm low on the situation. And we haven't even talked about like Phillip Rivers projections. I mean, what the hell are we even doing there? But they are 13-point underdogs. So, they'll probably have to throw. They'll probably try to be run heavy, but ultimately throw a ton. This is just a really tough projection to make. That's why I want us to like talk about it and lock it in early in the week. But I'm gonna set it at I'm gonna set it at 42.5.
Also, another thing throwing a wrinkle in this. Alec Pierce got hurt on the last drive. He's a yardage gobbler for that team. If he's not in there, that does change things a lot too.
Yeah.
42.5. I'm gonna go over. I think what would happen if it's like a worst case scenario and it's Rivers, or I mean, I guess it's the worst case scenario regardless if you're a Colts fan. But he's been over this in 10 of 14. He's had 44 or more receiving yards. I'm gonna say what would happen if regardless of the quarterback is he's going to be the top target in the passing game this week, because I think he's just the easiest guy to get the ball to. Like you had Michael Pittman kind of erupt, or whatever his version of an eruption is, like 9 for 79, and you have Pierce questionable. So I think if you're a quarterback, like whether it's Rivers, we know he can get the ball to the tight end, but even if you're Riley Leonard, some of those like short to intermediate throws to a guy like Warren over the middle, I think is easier than trying to go outside. With those Seahawks corners are really, they're good on the outside. They tend to give up more completions, to backs and tight ends because of their defensive scheme. So I think Warren is going to be like that number one target. He'll probably get some like tight end screens, things like just stuff to get the ball in his hands. So I think he can get there in a number of ways. So yeah, I'm gonna go over. It's more of a gut feel, but I just think that's with a week to prepare. That's probably how they tackle the game plan. So if they can get to like 150 passing yards, I do think Warren gets to like a third of them.
Yeah, that's not a bad projection. I could see the same thing when Leonard did come in again. For some reason, he wasn't scrambling.
Zone. The Jags play a ton of zone. I think that's
he was spamming. It was Pittman this game, but again, that's just they threw him in the fire. But like you said, if they have the week to prepare, it's a little bit different when you have a week to prepare versus a guy just getting thrown in there. So yeah, I would expect more scrambles and then more scheme passes to Warren specifically. Yeah. But again, we don't even know who's going to be under center still.
Yeah, it's more of a gut feel on Warren, but it's just like the writing's on the wall with Pittman going off, Pierce being a little potentially banged up. I think, and Warren's been quiet. That's probably what you would do from like you want to go to the guy that gives you like that the least amount of risk with the ball in the air, and I think that's Warren. Like you throw him short 8-out passes and pick up yak. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for our NFL Week 15 player projections episode here on the Fantasy Flex. Be sure to subscribe to the pod so you don't miss an episode rest of season. Hopefully you're on the doorstep or already in your fantasy playoffs. We got our waiver wire episode already out, if so, and we'll be back tomorrow with our DFS episode as well. Also on Thursday on the Action Network pod, we drop the touchdown show with our guy Jill Gallant, Koerner, myself. We've been hot on that, so be sure to check that out if you're looking for touchdown bets or just, maybe guys that you think could help your team in fantasy that we have for a touchdown. So be sure to check that out. You can find Sean on X at @the_oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon. Be sure to follow Playbook as well. And we're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until next time, let's get this money.